Joe Hopkins here, and I got a video, like the title says, who makes some of these guitars that we love, right? And I got my Wolf here, and what I've found is it can be sometimes difficult to find out who actually manufactures some of our favorite brands, but very enlightening. You know, it tells you some things about the brand and maybe gives you some ideas about other brands of guitars. Now I have my Wolf because I was trying to find out who builds guitars for all-in-one guitars. They're Wolf and AIO brands. Took me a little while to find out, but it's interesting because it's a Korean company with factories in Vietnam called IYV. And the reason why that's interesting is, well, the difference in prices in the guitars they make depending on who they make them for. Now, obviously, there are factories that make guitars for different manufacturers to different specs. And, you know, it's a reason why there's a big price difference. But what's interesting, this is my Wolf. It's about $450, $500. It's around there to buy these from Wolf or AIO. And in the same factory, IYV makes their own brand called IYV. If you go on Amazon, a lot of times it's listed as IVY, but it's actually, you look at the headstock, it says IYV. It stands for IYV. And that's their own brand of guitars. And those, for a LP style guitar, start at like $160, $170. And they have a lot of different brands, or a lot of different styles. But for the most part, they're all under $200. And they're made in the same factory. Now, like I said, I really doubt they're quite as good as my Wolf. This thing is made to specs for this brand. But it is interesting to know that you can get a guitar made in the same factory for that much less. Or you could spend a lot more. They also make guitars for ESP. Now, I'm not saying all ESPs are made there, but some of them are. So some of the lower priced ESPs might be pretty similar to your Wolf or your IYV guitar. And when I was looking this up, I found some other brands that I hadn't heard of, or let me put it this way, I've heard of, but I haven't really looked into very closely. They also make guitars for Dillion guitars in the USA. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Dillion. Dillion. And their guitars start at like around $700 up to $1,000, right? So that's, and they have good guitars. I'd recommend checking them out. They look cool. But the other brand they make that really blew my mind is Legator. And if you haven't heard of Legator, they make some pretty good guitars. They're really liked by a lot of people, rather premium name. And, you know, they're expensive. They start at like $900 and go up to like $2,000 plus, $2,000+ for a lot of Legator guitars. I don't know if IYV makes all their guitars, but apparently they do make guitars for them. And that's rather interesting to know. So, I mean, my Wolf is related to a guitar that costs like 4 times what this guitar does. And I'm not necessarily saying you're going to get the same quality or the same type of guitar, you know, the same level. Like I said, different specs, different brands, you know, that kind of stuff. But it is interesting to note they're made in the same place. And I mean, Dillion guitars have been played by a lot of big name musicians, you know, so's Legator. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing to look up. I went on that journey and it took me a while to find all this stuff out, so I thought I'd share it with you. But as far as who makes your guitar, sometimes it's worth doing the research, because sometimes you'll find out some interesting things. I gotta say, this has made me more interested in checking out the IYV guitars on Amazon, since, I mean, I'd love to compare it, you know, their own brand to stuff they make for other brands. So there's a short little trip down the lane of where is this guitar made. This guitar was made in Vietnam by a Korean company. And that same company makes other brands of guitars. There you go. thought you might find it interesting. If you did find it interesting, leave a comment, let me know. If you have more information about it, hey, let me know. And if you didn't find it interesting, well, tell me that too, right? I'll see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.